What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, Michigan State basketball goes out in the quarterfinal of the Big Ten tournament, 84-88 loss to UCLA. After a good 5 days off too, to come out with this performance, which honestly I said it a couple times during the game, that might have been the most disgusting defensive performance I've seen from a Michigan State basketball team in my 28 years of life. That was absolutely atrocious, especially when you were getting killed on ball screen defense every single time you had to help over. Every single time it was a corner three wide open in the corner with maybe a late contest that was just finding the bottom of the net 9 times out of 10. Just absolutely disgusting as well on the ball screen defense. The bigs not going further down. UCLA, Donovan Dent able to just get all the way to the basket, essentially either finish it or find someone, and that's why Donovan Dent has another huge game after having a triple double Thursday night. Comes out and has a 23-12 game in this one to knock Michigan State out of the Big Ten tournament. So, really, really disappointing for after working so hard the last part of the season after went through that mid-February classic Michigan State like struggle there mid-February, to able to kind of solidify things with some big wins down the stretch, secure a top 3 seed or a top 4 seed, should I say, in a Big Ten tournament to get that triple bye to Friday. And then you have, after a tough disappointing rivalry loss on Sunday, you have 4 or 5 days, whatever, to get ready for this one, and just not enough. And I thought the offense for Michigan State was solid. I mean, you shot 48% from 3. You didn't make 14 threes like you did last time against Michigan State, but the problem is you let them shoot 48% from 3 as well. And the problem also is double-digit layup misses. I don't know the right word to say it. I don't know how to say it. I don't know what the exact number finished as, but with a couple minutes left in the game, it was like 11 missed free throws, which is absolutely insane, and it's been a problem at times for Michigan State this year, which does not make sense with the type of finishers that Michigan State does have around the rim. So that's definitely puzzling, but the early exit for Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament, but we're going to talk about this game here. But first, before we do jump in, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Michigan State basketball content on the channel. We'll have NCAA tournament content on the channel as well. But make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So we'll just start with UCLA, and you do have to give them credit because they're, probably their best player, one of their, top 2 important players, I guess you say, Tyler Bilodeau. He only plays 10 minutes in this one, and, he started out really good. 5 points, 2 for 2 from the field, was 1 for 1 from 3, but he ended up going out in the first half with a knee injury. Unfortunately, wasn't able to come back. For him, he was on the bench, had some ice on there. So, for his sake, for UCLA's sake, hope that, he's okay and can go on Saturday for them, because he's an incredible player, definitely one of the better scorers in the Big Ten, what he can do, pick a pop in and, everything for UCLA. He's really important, but, you have to give credit to UCLA. Their guys stepped up and made huge plays, and you got to start with Donovan Dent. 38 minutes in this one, 23 points. 6 rebounds, 12 assists, only had 2 turnovers, had 4 steals as well. Really big. And Sky Clark as well had a couple big threes. Donovan Dent 3 for 5 from 3. Sky Clark 3 for 8 from 3. 15 points, had an assist. Trent Perry I thought was absolutely huge. 22 points, 4 for 8 from 3. It was really a lot of Sky Clark, Trent Perry hitting those, like I talked about, those defensive, miscommunications or defensive lapses that Michigan State had. Kick to the corner, Trent Perry 3. Kick to the corner, Sky Clark 3. Yeah, to shout out to them. They made their shots, and Michigan State defense just not good enough on those. And Sky Clark and Trent Perry took full advantage of those. Trent Perry also had 3 assists and a block as well, with only 1 turnover. Eric Daly was big for them, 14 and 10 on the night, efficient too, 5 for 7 from the field. But then he also knocks down 2 for 3 from 3. Throws in 3 assists, 3 turnovers, and 4 steals as well. And the turnovers was a problem for Michigan State last time. And we'll get to the Michigan State side of things. But yeah, you have 2 guys in your starting lineup with 4 steals. You have a guy off your bench who we'll get to, Brandon Williams here, who had some pretty big shots for them. 9 points, 3 for 4 from the field, and 3 for 4 from the line, with 4 rebounds and 3 steals. Yeah, things are going right for UCLA, especially when you're shooting the way that they were shooting tonight. Xavier Booker fouled out in this one, 14 minutes, 0 for 2 from three, one rebound, two turnovers. Jamar Brown got two rebounds for them. Eric Freeney, three rebounds and an assist for them. But listen, overall, they just shot the lights out of the ball tonight, and you have to give them credit because a lot of it was them hitting shots, but a lot of it too, Michigan State helped them because their defensive rotations, defensive intensity for most of the night was, like I said, just kind of pitiful coming into this one. And like I said, I can't recall a Michigan State defense looking that bad. Like there's been games, throughout my time of being a Michigan State fan, watching Michigan State, where a team gets hot from three and just or knocks it down. Michigan State gets blown out. Michigan State's close in this game, and that's because I thought their offense did enough. 84 points should be enough to win you a game when you have a top 10, 12 defense in the country all year long. And it wasn't in this one. And you have to give them credit. 13 for 27 from three. They made their free throws. Didn't turn the ball over a lot. Only 8 turnovers for them. Forced a lot of turnovers. They had 12 steals, which is absolutely insane. Big reason why UCLA won this one. Hit their shots, 3-pointers, didn't turn the ball over, and forced quite a bit of turnovers, specifically steals. Now switching over to Michigan State. Off the bench, we only saw 2 minutes of Denon Wojcik. He actually did get 2 shots up, had a rebound and a turnover. We'll finish with the bench here before we get into more of the backup point guard role. Cam Ward, 11 minutes in this one, 3 points, 1 for 1, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds. I thought he looked okay in his minutes. I think I thought Cam would have a bigger role in this game, and I'll have to look back at some of his minutes because I thought he was going to have a pretty decent role in this one. I thought that they might go a little bit smaller, and you might see maybe some Cam at the 5, given how they were going to play, especially once the unfortunate injury to Bilodeau and Bilodeau not being able to play. I thought they'd want someone Cam a little bit more quick on the perimeter, but they didn't go that route. I'll have to watch back, see if there was anything, but I thought he was solid overall in his minutes, especially after kind of Sunday was not good for Cam. But Kurtang, 26 minutes in this one, 13 points, 4 for 11 and 3 for 8 from 3, 2 for 3 from the line, a rebound and assist, 2 turnovers, had the one late trying to post entry pass. I think it was to Cooper. I just didn't get that play, get the ball back up to Jeremy, run something, run a pick and, set a ball screen, someone flare to the corner, do something. I didn't get that play. I would have liked to see in that play. I mean, Jeremy did a lot of incredible stuff tonight. We'll get to him here in a second, but that specific play, since we're talking about Kerr, when he was trying to enter it down low to Cooper there, it was kind of weird, especially since, Coop had the mismatch. It was Dent that was on his backside that got the steal. I understand wanting to kind of throw it in there, but given that you were having such a hard time getting it around him, just get the ball to Jeremy, set kind of a blur screen to get Jeremy kind of going with the head of steam, towards the edge, and then see if you can still get Coop to kind of maybe move on the block a little bit. You still have that. If someone switches, then Jeremy changes directions, gets to the paint, maybe set something up that way, maybe a backside lob. So I just don't get that. But I mean, Kerr had some big shots tonight. The free threes, we definitely needed them. But then Trey Fort, 13 minutes in this one, 8 points, 3 for 5 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3, a rebound and an assist as well as a block too. And I thought Trey Fort gave you some pretty good minutes. I thought he was solid on defense as well. I mean, he had the block, yeah, but I thought he was really, really solid in this one on both ends of the floor. And really provided a spark that Michigan State needed. And, that's kind of been, there's been a few Michigan State, fans online that have obviously been holding out for Trey Fort. I have been as well. I think Trey Fort's incredible. I just think it's kind of been, obviously not the year Trey Fort has wanted, but, there's been a handful of MSU fans that have been holding out like there's going to be that game in the tournament that Trey Fort's going to get going. And, thought that this might be it when he came in, knocks down a 3, gets a jumper or a, 2-point field goal to go and, go in. He had one blocked at the rim that he was going for a dunk that looked pretty good. But, overall, I thought Trey Fort really gave you some incredible minutes, and I hope that this means we are going to get some Trey Fort minutes moving forward in the NCAA tournament. because as we finish with the bench, I will, just address the elephant in the room again because we're been doing it for a month and a half. But I've been someone that I wouldn't say defending Denim, but saying that some of the reactions are overblown. I think you kind of saw the staff tonight. When push comes to shove, what they might be doing come NCAA tournament time or tournament time like this was. This was a winner go home. This was your first test of tournament time this year, and we saw what they did. They had 2 minutes of Denim Wojcik. Wasn't fantastic. And then the next kind of rotation where Jeremy needed a minute, they did something they did a couple games ago. They did Jordan Scott at the point guard. And like I said, when that happened, it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't fantastic in this game, but like I said, I want to see Trey Ford on the ball. Like, yeah, you're probably going to get a minute of maybe maybe a little bit more of ISO ball than Izzo maybe wants, but at times, especially in a game like this, like, hey, go try to create a shot. Like, stuff wasn't going down until it was. I mean, Michigan State really did turn it on in the second half, and their offense really got going. I mean, 51 points in the second half for Michigan State. And like I said, overall, as the game, 84 points. That should be enough to win you a game when you have a top 10, 12 defense in the country. So that was disappointing overall, but really, I did think that was a positive, the Trey Ford minutes in this one, and I really hope we see some more of that, or even if it is Jordan Scott and Kurt or Trey Ford can be the scorer when Jeremy's off the court, but I think he can create as well. Maybe creating his own shot, whatever. But I'd just like to see a little more of him, and I wish we did throughout the season, especially after the Divine injury. I know Denham's been fine, and I've said that for this month and a half when we've seen his minutes since Divine's gone down. I don't think he's done anything, for as a whole, anything crazy to absolutely, hurt you drastically. But there has been a couple sequences lately where I think about last game on Sunday, and the sequences where he was in there did not go well. So yeah, I'm curious if that's what kind of that looks like in the tournament in terms of backup point guard minutes. Obviously, I know it depends on situation and whatnot, and I know when he got those 2 minutes, that was kind of there in the first half as well. We didn't see him in the second half, so I just know that's obviously front of everyone's mind, and obviously a big topic of conversation in the fan base. So had to address it there, but it's been something I've been talking about for weeks. I want to see Trey Ford handling the ball a little bit, as the backup point guard minutes, and I know I'm not alone in that sentiment either. But we'll kind of see going forward. So let's move to the starting lineup. Jordan Scott, 29 minutes in this one, 7 points, 2 for 7, 2 for 6 from 3, 1 for 1 from the line with 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Did have 4 turnovers, a steal, and a block. The turnovers were just unfortunate. And he also had he had 4 fouls in this one. Not that, didn't foul out or anything, but 4 fouls. Had that one late when there was a 12-second difference between the clock, and thought that they were still fouling when it was a 2-point game. Fouled. It was like, what are you doing? It happens. I'd rather that happen in the Big Ten tournament than the NCAA tournament starting next week. But, I thought Jordan, he hit a couple of clutch shots. The threes that he hit were clutch at times that were needed. Thought he was solid defensively overall. But yeah, just need some more shots to go down. And, we've seen what he can do, all the other little stuff. Talking about the rebounds, the assists, the steals, block, what he's doing defensively. So, if he hits 1 or 2 more shots, obviously different game, but you're feeling a little bit different. And he gets good looks too. That's the thing. So he's a really good shooter. Trust that the shots are going to go down. We've seen him go down this year. And as he goes forward, hopefully throughout the tournament this year, but then especially to going forward as well, getting more comfortable in the flow of things. I mean, I already think he's really comfortable out there. Anyway, we see that with everything he does. But, obviously would like a couple more shots to go down. But I think overall, aside from the turnovers, I thought a solid game, if a couple more shots went down and besides turnovers. Konkar, 28 minutes, 12 points, 5 for 9 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3, 1 for 3 from the line, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, only had a turnover as well. 5 offensive rebounds for Cohen as well, part of his 8 rebounds. Really solid on the glass, obviously. Got a couple of nice finishes down low. Like I think he had the alley oop early in the game, where he went kind of reverse. Him and Coop were kind of going up for it at the same time, but really kind of second half when it was really like oh boy time for Michigan State. We saw Jeremy Fears really just really sprint to the baseline kind of and look for dump downs for Cohen. Got that 2 or 3 times for some of his finishes and being strong at the rim. And we've seen that that's been when Cohen's been most successful, either dribbling it himself in, finishing tough at the rim, or getting it, finishing, obviously he can dunk, or even just finishing off the glass has been really solid for him. So that offensively was, pretty solid overall, rebounding the glass as well, especially on the offensive glass for Cohen. Jackson Kohler, 26 minutes, 7 points, 2 for 6, 1 for 3 from 3, 2 for 2 from the line, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. I know our bigs were part of some of the defensive stuff on the pick and roll defense. I know Michigan State, or I know Tom Izzo talked about on Sunday. I know he kind of talked about the guards too, like the guards had to push up on that, hedging the screen, or push up before the screen comes, to set up a better position for the bigs, essentially, in my opinion, I think, to, push them out. And, we saw it at times that the bigs with Jax, with Coop, Cam a couple times, Cohen, I think was involved in some of them, but, the bigs, it's either, Michigan State, they're going to hedge. So you want to push ball handler, essentially you want to push Donovan Dent, and he was able to get whatever he wanted tonight, but they just did not do a good job of pushing him up and pushing him out. And then even if you aren't going to step up, you usually want to step up on a shooter. Usually Michigan State hedges either way. But a few times it looked like they were playing like maybe drop coverage as well. But they were just kind of going at an angle. And then Fears or whoever was involved in the ball screen, usually Fears, with the point guard with them, was just following too. And then a couple times we saw it, the big just kind of, okay, I'm out. Like, Jeremy, you got him. And then, Fears is then on the hip of Dent, and Dent's like, okay, you're leaving? All right, I'll go for a layup or get a foul. Like, whatever the case may be. Happened too many times this game, not just Jax. Having Carson as well, kind of like indecisive, kind of like you're in the middle, right there, which both of them are really good defenders. So it was just really frustrating to see that. And sometimes, too, just getting kind of caught up in the pick and roll of it. I know they kept talking about it on the broadcast, but it was, you're getting caught up in the pick and roll, whatever it was, and then maybe Fears off the ball in the corner, but then pick and roll defense doesn't go well, so person in the corner, Fears or whoever was defending the person in the corner has to then sprint over to try to help, boom to the corner, and they were what felt like shooting 100% from the corner. Don't have the shot chart up in front of me, but I'm sure it was close to that, given they shot 48% from 3 on the night, but just happened too many times. Carson Cooper, 29 minutes, 13 points, 4 for 7, 5 for 6 from the line, 5 rebounds, and an assist and a steal. As I said, kind of just some of the defensive stuff was, I thought Coop did some good things offensively. But yeah, I think kind of just as a whole, defensively, and I don't mean to put it all on the bigs, but just a few of those possessions that kind of just get you off your couch and like holding your head, like, what are we doing? Like, this is stuff. Like, this was some stuff that I've never seen, like, Michigan State do in my life with some of that ball screen defense. It was absolutely maddening. But we'll move on to Jeremy Fears. 36 minutes in this one, 21 points, 7 for 14, and 2 for 3 from 3. Really looked comfortable and confident shooting those threes. Obviously 2 for 3 on the night, 5 for 5 from the line with 1 rebound, 13 assists. 4 turnovers, 1 steal. Obviously, the only thing can really say is about the 4 turnovers. But we've seen throughout the year that he's been solid, keeping it, 2, 3, maybe. We've seen a couple 4s. 3 or 4s is kind of the high, but we've seen him keep it low, and Michigan State overall has improved over the last part of the season. But yeah, and Jeremy Fears did all he could, but then kind of late, he got that 4th foul. Trying to double the post there, just getting a little bit of the wrist, and had to play when they're playing the foul game. Had to jump in and out to help there, but I thought a really good performance from Jeremy Fears. Obviously another double, but encouraged by the 3-point shooting there. Encouraged by the 3-point shooting overall from the team. I know Jackson only got 3 up, 1 for 3. Jordan missed 2 for 6, but from Jeremy, from Kerr, from Trey, positive there. Jack's hitting that big one late. As I said, Jordan, like he was 2 for 6, so he missed a handful of them. But so did Kerr. But the threes that they hit because Michigan State, got behind, they were big time shots. So I think that's a positive you can take kind of going forward for the team. But we'll look at some team stats here before we kind of just give kind of some last thoughts on this one. Field goal percentage, 56 for UCLA, 45 for Michigan State, 13 for 27, 48%, 11 for 23, 48% for Michigan State. Free throws, 15 for 19, 79%. Michigan State, 17 for 22, 77%. 26 rebounds compared to 34 for Michigan State, 6 offensive, 16 offensive rebounds for Michigan State, 20 defensive rebounds compared to 18 for Michigan State. That advantage on the offensive board, just Michigan State not being able to capitalize, on some of them. There were some that Michigan State got. I think there was a possession they got, 3 offensive rebounds, and I think it still ended with a missed shot. Just can't have those. When you get the offensive rebounds, got to take advantage of them. And Michigan State being one of the best rebounding teams, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country as well. So hope for that to continue in the tournament. But assist-wise, 20 to 24 for Michigan State, 12 steals for UCLA, absolutely incredible. Only 3 for Michigan State, 3 blocks for UCLA, 2 for Michigan State. UCLA, only 8 turnovers. Michigan State turned it over 12 times, 10 points off turnovers for UCLA, 7 for Michigan State. 10 fast break points compared to 10 for Michigan State as well, tied up there. Points in the paint, 24 to 30, Michigan State advantage there. UCLA had a 15-point lead at one point, and Michigan State had a lead of 4 at one point as well. But disappointing, definitely disappointing kind of end here to the Big Ten tournament for Michigan State, going out after one game. I think the most disappointing thing was just truly how atrocious the defense was. As I said, kind of at the top here, I don't know in my I say 28 years of life, but say, 20-something years of watching Michigan State basketball, I don't know if I've seen a defensive performance like that. Especially when Tom Izzo, after the last game, talked about the pick-and-roll defense. I think some of it was a little bit different. This time, the pick-and-roll defense was, letting the ball handler, either dribble it out too much to get to the paint or, having some whatever where the ball handler is able to, get it to the corner for a 3. Yeah, just really disappointing defensive performance overall. And now we just wait till Sunday to see where Michigan State will land. I guess kind of overall, I did see, shout out to Dr. Green and White on Twitter, kind of went through some scenarios for where Michigan State could go. And it seemed like the most likely case if Michigan State stayed on the 2 line, it seemed like it was going the way of Michigan State either having to go out west and play in Arizona's, region, or go down south and play in probably Florida's region. Now, with this one, you never want to lose a game. Don't get me wrong. I'm extremely upset that we lost this game and wish that we were still playing Saturday and get a chance at, potentially, probably, with that other school down the road, possibly waiting in the way on Sunday. But obviously, we'll never know that. Obviously, we're not doing that. But, kind of looking at it, if Michigan State lost this game and with some of the other results that are still pending that happened today, that, haven't, throughout the rest of the weekend, Michigan State could be looking at a 3 seed now, which if it's 3 seed, it could be the 3 seed in the East, which is definitely assuming the East is going to be Duke region. The Midwest will probably be the school down the road. So really, the East is where me personally, kind of just looking at everything, especially with some injuries Duke had, that's the 1 seed I want. Obviously, we have to play a lot better and we have to fix a lot of things before we even think about who we're playing as the 1 seed. But avoiding going out west or avoiding going down south, I think is the biggest thing for Michigan State here. So in a way, yes, this loss absolutely sucks. And I'm not here trying to say like a loss was a good thing. But, I guess if you want to try to take a silver lining to get you through the next, 36 hours, whatever it is, I don't know, I can't do math, get you through the next day and a half, essentially, till Selection Sunday, is maybe Michigan State falls to a 3 seed, and you might say, falling off the 2 seed line, whatever. But if you're able to, geographically wise, if falling through a 3 seed puts you in a better geographical position, either East Coast or Midwest, then it could maybe benefit Michigan State, or that could benefit Michigan State. Not saying that's a benefit from this game, but um, I guess just saying that could maybe be one silver lining thing you can take from this game. And who knows? With some other results, Michigan State still may be on the 2 seed line, and you might have to go out west to play or go down south. But it seemed like out west was where everything was trending, which, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Michigan State, we saw them go on the West Coast trip this year, go 2-0. Last year they went out there, went 0-2. So, at times Michigan State has struggled on the West Coast, and I've said this before when we went on the West Coast trip this year. That it wasn't just like a basketball thing. It was or not just a men's basketball thing. It was a women's basketball team at times. Football, we've seen it. Women's soccer, we've seen it. So, it's just, at times hard, and don't want to have to do that for the tournament. I know the tournament's a little bit different than, going on a road trip in the middle of January or February, what have you. But, so I guess that's something to look at going into Selection Sunday. I will say Mark Twervik now does have Michigan State projected as a 3 seed. So probably if they fall to the 3 seed, I'm assuming be the top 3 seed. So I forget how all that works. If how it goes geographical wise. If Michigan State would have any say of geographical preference, if that's the case, they're the top overall 3 seed, then where they can choose. But that'll kind of wrap up this game. Kind of a little bit of tournament talk there, but. Now we wait ahead till Selection Sunday, and we will be back Selection Sunday after the reveal of the bracket. We'll be back here with our initial kind of thoughts overall on the bracket as a whole, both the men's side and the women's side, and then as we move through next week, we'll obviously before Michigan State's first game, we'll preview that opponent and everything, preview that game, should I say? But then we're also going to go through every region. For the bracket for the men's and women's side, give our predictions for the first round and first weekend of the NCAA tournament. Everything going to go through, fill out our bracket here as well. So a lot of content on the channel within the next week or so, and throughout the rest of March Madness. So at the end of the day, disappointing result here for Michigan State, but overall now we kind of go home, kind of look at the film, what can fix and whatnot moving forward. Get ready for Selection Sunday, and find out where you're going, who you're playing, and hit the road and try to lock in, as the March Madness shirts say this year. Lock it in. So Michigan State unfortunately goes out in the Big Ten quarterfinals here to UCLA, 84-88. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. As I said, we'll be back Sunday. After Selection Sunday, should I say, to preview everything and give it initial thoughts on the bracket reveal. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.